Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another production of the Cross-Platform Baseball League. My name is Dwayne. I'm one of the commissioners of this league, and joining me in the booth tonight for another weekly roundup, the Week 5 edition of our weekly roundup, is Oxbox, of one of our AAA veterans and fellow members of the booth. How are you doing tonight, Ox?
What up, Dwayne? What up, everybody? Happy to be here for yet another roundup as we are getting close to the end of the season here, Dwayne.
Yes, indeed we are. The AAA is finishing up all of its regular season games this week, and we'll be heading off right into the playoffs for the next game week, and then the XBL will be following the week after, looking to wrap up during week 7 next week. So that'll be really, really exciting as we're at the business end of the season, and we're going to have some bracket talk to go along with our final power rankings for the AAA tonight, and our plays of the week, and our StatCast storylines as well. So a lot of good content, a lot of good fun, and we're not going to waste any time. We're going to go ahead and get right into it here with our AAA rankings. Give me just a moment to get set up here. And here we go. We have a tie at 13th this week between Mist and SWAT. The highest, I believe, Mist has been ranked since very, very early, if not overall. And then Snowbird bringing up the rear once again at 15.
Yeah, big jump for the Mystery Inc., as he's really been stacking up wins here in the last couple of weeks of the AAA, Dwayne. You love to see it. Not a lot of movement between SWAT and Black Roses, but all three of these teams, you can't sleep on them as we enter the playoffs. They've been holding their own.
Yes, indeed, they have. Mist has been picking up his wins here late in the season. SWAT was still with some games to play, so we'll see if he's able to get a little hotter with those games in hand going into the playoffs. Move on up now to ranks 10, 11, and 12. We have a bit of a drop from our players here at 10 and 11. We have the Hudson Softies and Tam Dannons. Jumping, excuse me. I'm not reading that correctly. But he goes from 11th to 10th, swapping places with you in the Nazgul 9. And then Plum Island Pirates standing pat at number 12. You guys, a bit of a trio.
Yeah, the Softies jumping me in the rankings and well-deserved. He definitely swept me. And me and the Pirates sitting right there at 11 and 12. We've still got to play, so we'll see who ends up winning that matchup. But Softies get a nice jump, and all three of us really looking for that reset button as the playoffs begin.
Yeah, everybody making the playoffs in the AAA is definitely a huge reset button, gives everyone an opportunity to just go in fresh in a series and really make something happen. So especially in these middle seeds, it's going to be really, really exciting who's able to come out of that dogfight. Move up into the top 7 as Eduardo drops 1 place, and then we see Yeezus move up back into the top 8, swapping places with Diesel, who is at 500 and right around the middle there at rank number 9.
Yeah, Dwayne, Eduardo actually with a really good showing on Match of the Week that we just saw, and he had a tough week getting swept by Panther, but he's really finished off his season strong. I'm proud of the Sirloins and the year they've had, as we see the Hikers have finished up their season too, and Milkman looking to finish the season strong, as he's now climbed up to a winning record, Dwayne.
Yeah, I was just about to say we see Eduardo finishing his highest ever record in the AAA in his 3 seasons, and Yeezus coming back for his 2nd season. Early on, he was picked to really smash the ball offensively and go out to a lot of wins, and he lost a lot of games early, and it's been impressive to see him really stack on the wins here in the later half of the season. He's pushed himself above 500, and he's looking to stay there. It'll be cool to see if he's able to finish out strong with these last 3 games that he's got. All these players here in rank 7, 8, and 9 have made major improvements as the season has gone on.
Yeah, all 3 feel good stories for sure, Dwayne, as we move on into 4, 5, and 6 here.
Yeah, no, we have 2 teams ranked at 5th after the Foxes put in a strong week of games, picking up 4 wins and 3 losses here on the list. And now at 16 and 10, they tie up there with Tezzy and his heavy hitters, who are at number 5 once again. And the Femme Fatales seem to be perennially at rank number 4, doing a good job staying up there this season. Powerful offense and great pitching.
Just take a look at the Foxes week he just had, playing a lot of games over the weekend with the scheduling. But look at the miss there with the big sweep. That's certainly eye-opening, as he turned right around and swept Eduardo and lost 1 to Tezzy, as you see, as Tezzy really submitting himself in this top 5. Both those guys very good players, but just crazy to see the ups and downs as we head into the playoffs. You never know really what's going to happen, as Chronic Lies also really cementing himself as a top 5 player.
Yeah, this middle of the AAA, as we stated with the last few players, just everybody really improving as the middle of the season and later half of the season has gone on, and it's going to make for a really interesting tournament. Something that I think maybe wouldn't have been said 2 or 3 weeks ago. We thought maybe AAA would be cut and dry, but a lot of players are going to have a big chance to make some noise as we move now into the top 3 once again, and for the final time in AAA this season in the power rankings. And it's going to be no movement from our familiar One-Eyed Seaman and the Swashbucklers right at the top, still undefeated. M. Bennings in the dog pound with a strong split against Eduardo on Match of the Week just a couple nights ago, having a good week at rank number 2. And the Toe Beans and Swiggle Jones picking up 2 wins against the Black Roses, otherwise quiet, and then looking to finish off this week strong.
Yeah, a huge win for the Hikers there, as he finished off his season taking a game off the mighty dog pound, as we saw Eduardo also take a game off the dog pound as he ended his season. But still a very, very strong season by M. Bennings, as he's been right there in the 2 or the 3 spot all season long, and really good season by all these guys, of course, as you know, we look at those crazy numbers by swashbucklers. But Dwayne, we have the bracket for you to show these guys later, and I'm going to give you a hot take right now. C-Man having a hell of a season, but I don't think he finishes this tournament undefeated. I think somebody gets him, and I don't know if he wins the championship.
That's a very, very bold take, and we're definitely gonna mark this one up here on our timestamp and go back to it later.
Timestamp.
Yeah, we're gonna timestamp this baby. We're gonna come back to it later because that is a bold one. But hey, I love it. Let's see if it happens. I mean, I kind of, I'm kind of 90% of the way there with you. I mean, he's been tough this season, but someone might figure something out along the way. We have to determine yet if the semifinals in the World Series will raise an ego, but that's beside the point. It's going to be players really just fighting for their life and trying to make noise in the playoff tournament. So it'll be really, really exciting to see if those games can get a bit closer and if someone can knock down the door of those swashbucklers. There's still games for him to play, like we just stated this week, and then the playoffs are going to be a dogfight. So really, really exciting. We're going to get into the bracket after the XBL power rankings in just a second. What were you going to say, Ox?
I just wanted to finish off that hot take by, of course, congratulating C-Man as he does wrap up his season, and if he does finish off the regular season undefeated, just an incredible, incredible feat to pull that off. But as we move on, like I said, that reset button, anything can happen, and I'd love to see somebody take down the Goliath of AAA.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really interesting week ahead of us as we move into the AAA bracket. We'll do the XBL power rankings first. Tonight here we have the Yeoman and Finite Provision and Cardiac Card and the Cardinals staying right where they were at 16 and 17 from last week. Just a bunch of losses on the board for these two teams. Looking to try and finish strong with a few games in hand for either of them now.
My man Cardiac, you see me rocking Louisville Slugger tonight. Shout out to you for the set you played against those Mallards, man. You were that close. The game screwed you. You should have won one, if not both of those games. So way to hold tight against, a top 5 XBLer, but Finite, the same kind of player. They make you fight tooth and nail for every victory. And despite the losing records, I think both these guys got a victory or two left in them.
Yes, indeed they do. Both these players losing, their fair share this season, but a lot of tight games. Like you said, it's always really, really tough. You see Finite there, still only at 16 games and has the number 1 strength of schedule. So he's going to have to go up against a lot of his peers here in the next couple of weeks to finish off his schedule. And he has a chance to pick up a good fair bit of wins and maybe even knock on the door of that 12th seed. You really never know how things are going to go when someone's got games to play like that. We'll keep pushing on.
Yeah, that 12 seed's really the 12th seed and even the 11th seed's really wide open, Dwayne, as we get on to 13, 14, and 15 here. As you guys see, No Name, Wishbone, and Boops holding those spots respectively.
Yes, indeed. All these players are trying to knock on that door respectively to the 12th seed, maybe even the 11th seed as well. There's games in hand for these players again. Identical records for the Colts and J-Boops and No Name and his base Bandits. Wishbone had a tough week. He's been playing a lot of the top half of the table, putting that behind him, and then he's going to look to finish strong with 6 more games in hand. And if he can get wins out of that, I think he's going to really be pushing on the 12th seed door. But the Bandits and the Colts have pitched really strong this season. They've played a lot of close games in their own right. And at identical records right now, it's tough to call if either of them are going to make the playoffs. And if you had to pick one, I'm not sure who I would pick.
Yeah, like I said, really up in the air. The number you guys want to pay attention to is obviously the win column of those records. As losses really become irrelevant, we're looking at who's going to get enough wins to get that 12-spot cutoff. And like you said, Wishbone really playing murderer's row when it comes to the schedule of XBL opponents. But all 3 of these guys and all 3 of the guys on the screen we're about to show really have a chance to still make the playoffs as we wind down in this XBL season.
Yeah, we'll keep moving on up the board now to ranks 10, 11, and 12. And we see Webb take a bit of a dip there from rank 9 to number 10. Jackin, a quiet week, taking the dip from 10 to 11. And then The Harambeena dropping from 10th to 12th. So a lot of movement here due to somebody above them moving up. We're going to have to see who that is in just a moment. But these players, like you just said, are going to be in that conversation as well for these lower seed playoff cutoff spots. And this is where the season gets really exciting, and the matchups get that much bigger. You don't know what matchups going into the season might be the biggest. You can kind of pinpoint a few. We try to do that for match of the week, but this is really when eyes are on every stream, on every moment, on every game, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And the three guys you see on your screen right now, if the season ended right now, Dwayne, they'd be in. But as we've seen every season in the XBL, it'll come down to that final week, possibly come down to one game, where we even have a de facto tiebreaker as someone's schedule wraps up for those final playoff spots. And I really don't know. I couldn't even tell you who's going to get the 11-12, who's going to be left on the outside looking in, but I'm certainly excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really cool to go over next week what the XBL bracket might look like. We're going to hold off on any predictions there because there is so much movement to be had in the middle for the XBL, but we are going to get into the AAA one in just a few moments. But first, we still have to keep moving up this board to rank 7, 8, and 9, and there is the movement from B. Hagen from rank number 12 into the top 10, rank number 9. Huge week for him, picking up 4 victories. And then Flash coming out strong. Now he's at 500. He's starting to pick up his games. 8 and 8, rank number 8. 8's all around for Flash. And then Ted, he's been at number 7 all season, and he's looked good. And I think that's really where he's going to finish and look to be strong going into the playoff tournament with 4 more games. He actually has a chance to finish above 500.
Yeah, great point. And it's been kind of a up and down season for the Dragoons, not as dominant as they were last season. But feels Beaverman for this whole screen right now, Dwayne. All 3 of these guys having a great week, really building some momentum. Flash really making a statement. He did take a couple of tough sweeps against Weaver and Corruptions, but taking a game off Ted was big, and he also took a game off GTM, as we saw earlier. Great job by B. Hagen, and just a shout out to him real quick, the co-King of Canada, King of the North, as he didn't do enough to dethrone Webb, but he certainly made a great 3-in-1 day in the Battle Royale for Canada and stacked some much-needed playoff victories.
Yes, indeed. Those King of Canada Day games always coming in crucial for perhaps the playoff race and for players like Webb, B. Hagen, and No Name who are in the mix right now. So that was a very, very fun day of baseball. Congratulations again to Webb for becoming the King of Canada, coming out strong, winning all those games. That's all got to feel good when you schedule a few sets in a day for something fun like that and come away with the victories. But yeah, this is really, really exciting. Everyone's packing in their games, and as we move up the board, it's just going to continue to look like tighter and tighter, and the matchups are going to keep getting better. As we look at ranks 4, 5, and 6, I think we've broken that tie from last week, whereas I was ranked number 5, now down at number 6. GTM taking the jump into the top 5, and Luke moving back into the top 4, respectively, having a really good week.
Yeah, these youngsters really had a good week ahead of you, Dwayne, and nothing to hang your hat over, of course, as both of them stacking up some big victories as their season gets rolling on here. And you finished your season earlier today, so congrats to you on a great regular season and a personal best for the Pine Sox.
Thank you very much.
And it'll definitely be interesting to see who gets that 4th spot. Very important, as that's where the bye cutoff is, and 5 and 6 kind of on the bubble there. But as we've talked about, it really doesn't matter who you get. If you're in that top 12, you just want to make it in there, and you just want to get past your first round opponent, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting into the tournament is the name of the game, and it's going to be really, really interesting, as you already stated, to see who comes for this number 4 spot. We're definitely going to talk more about that next week, as the matchup from last night's going to go into week 6 consideration, where Luke swept to GTM, and that might be big considering where their records could finish, and who might have that, how Luke might have that matchup in hand. We'll move into the XBL top 3 now before we get into the AAA playoff bracket, and we have the same old song and dance up here. We actually have Corruptions taking the bump from a tie at 2 back down to number 3, but the same 3 players here in the same 3 spots essentially as Weaver and the Navigators have cleaned out the weekly roundup power rankings here for the majority of the season here at number 1. Ashnod and the Blues at number 2, looking to get some games in this week, I think, and to maybe challenge Weaver for the top. And then the Anchors have had a really surprising but great season. Every time he's been ranked up here, it's been well earned.
Absolutely, and a great season by Corruptions, as I believe all 3 of these guys, if they haven't clinched that first round bye, they're certainly likely to, as really that 4 spot. As Luke is incredibly incorrect, that 4 spot really up for grabs, but I'd be surprised if all 3 of these guys didn't cement their spot in the first round bye. Really, really looking forward to that Corruptions Blues matchup whenever it's going to be. And we saw Corruptions take a game off the top dog Weaver. Can he do the same or more against the Blues? We'd love to see it, but that's the real test, I think, for the Anchors as he winds his season down.
Yeah, after we already saw him against Weaver on that match of the week where they split really, really tight games. It's going to be tough to call if those 2 meet each other in the playoffs. I think the next biggest series, if not the bigger series, is going to be Corruptions versus Ashnod, where it's trying to take down the Titan and make your name. And if those 2 have a strong series in the regular season and then maybe end up meeting in the playoffs, how often 2 and 3 might meet in those semifinals. It's going to be really, really interesting.
Absolutely. And I can't wait to see how that one plays out, man. It's going to be really fun to not only see how the bracket shapes up, but to, see how these playoff matchups shake down.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of playoff matchups, we're going to go ahead right now and jump right into the AAA playoff bracket. We have a couple of predictions here to make. I mean, there's still some movement to be made, but as it stands right now, everybody is close to where they're going to be, and we're just going to kind of theorize about what could be. And next week, we're definitely already probably going to have some matchups in progress to go over alongside the XBL bracket. So it's a 15-team bracket again, or this season for the AAA. We had a 15-team bracket back in season 4, so we've copied the format from way back when, where there's a double bye as usual for the top 4. The top 5 through 9 players get a single bye, and then players 10 through 15 are going to be dogfighting in the first round, sort of a wild card round. That'll be really, really exciting, trying to get into that round of 12 and then eventually maybe the quarterfinals.
And Dwayne, remind me to revisit this, but I do have a PSA for all players just when it comes down to playoff rosters. Try to get there will be an announcement in the Discord, of course, but try to get your rosters approved before the day of or before, the minute of your playoff series begins, as that's a lot of roster checking for league office to do. But, housekeeping out of the way, we get a nice sneak peek at this AAA playoff bracket. As you see, the Dog Pound and the Swashbucklers looking like the top 2 seeds, but a reminder, we do have the Toe Beans and the Swashbucklers in a big match of the week this weekend as they square off.
Yeah, that's going to be absolutely huge. That might be the biggest chance for anybody to go after Seaman and try and get a win here on this final AAA regular season week. That's looking like it's going to be either Friday or Sunday. We're going to have a drop for you guys probably after Ox and I powwow after this and figure out what's next. It's going to be really, really exciting for that match of the week. 2 players making their debut on primetime. And then, yeah, they've never played on primetime before, and it's the 2 that were, really picked to be, not the most exciting players going into the season, but after week 1 and we did some matchup adjusting, it was apparent they had a lot of talent. So this matchup got shifted, and it's definitely due to be a big one. Speaking of big matchups, as we look over this bracket, I just want to talk about a couple ones that stand out to me right now. And the first one that really comes to my eye is that 8 versus 9. Both those teams earning that first round bye, but will have to play each other, Milkmen and Hikers. That would be a best of, I think it's a best of 3, but as it's listed up top of best of 5. I'll get that clarified either way, but a series between those 2 players is going to be huge. I think they split in the season, if I'm not incorrect.
Yeah, they did split, I believe, Dwayne. And Hikers, not only was he able to take a game or more off a lot of players in this AAA as he finished with a 500 record, he really stacked a lot of those bigger splits later on in the season. So, he's coming in with a lot of momentum. And Milkman, as we said, a lot of momentum himself as he had a losing record for the entire season. He's finally climbed to above 500, so you'd hate to see either one of those guys lose in the first matchup they have, but either one of them also capable of, giving the Bucklers a run for their money, as it'll be interesting for sure. And then the heavy hitters who, as if you've kept up with team news, they haven't been swept by anybody all season. And they're looking like they could square off with Chronic Eyes there in the big 4-5 matchup, provided any upsets.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Heavy hitters, as it stands right now, has his own portion of the bracket with a bye right to the quarterfinals. It's going to be important for him to win these last few games and solidify that, because Chronic Lies is going to be fighting tooth and nail just the same to get that bye. It's going to be between those two on that side of the bracket for one of them to avoid having to play against, as it stands right now, SWAT or the Pirates, two players that'll play in a close game. And as like I said, if it's a best of 3 or best of 5, either way, a shorter series like that against players that play it close, it's almost like a coin flip sometimes how that might turn out.
Yeah, and on the other side, you see the Dog Pounds could be facing off against Eduardo there in the quarters, as we just saw those two have a very close match of the week doubleheader. And Toe Beans and Foxes, if we're going by top seeds advancing, of course, that could also be very entertaining quarterfinal matchup.
Yeah, that side of the bracket does have its fair share of excitement, as we actually have yourself in the Nazgul 9 and Mist Inc. Matched up at 11 and 14 right there. That's going to be a coming up match of the week as well this weekend for our AAA week feature. So we're going to get that scheduled for you, and that could lead into a potential playoff match between the two players. So really, really, really interesting stuff there.
And interesting to note, Mist and I, he's coming in on fire. I'm very worried about our match this weekend, but as I said, he swept Blue Panther not a week ago. So if that is how the bracket shakes out, I'd be, me and Blue Panther would certainly be worried about him coming up and possibly making a Krill-like run through these playoff brackets.
That is true. That would harken back to the days of Krill, coming in with a lower seed like that. I think he was down in the 14-15 range, and he really stormed through the playoffs and into the quarterfinals. So we will have our eyes on Mist going forward, and we'll have our eyes too on the Softies versus Roses matchup. Snowbird, not the most offensive player this season, but has played some close games. Tam, pretty much in the same boat. He's just managed to score more runs. So if those two are in a best of 3 series, that's, like we've said a couple times, a chance for someone like Snowbird to hit the reset button and really come up with an upset. So that'll be an interesting series as well. As always, it's really cool to see everybody in the AAA be able to make the playoffs and be able to refresh themselves and try and make some noise.
Yeah, absolutely. And I personally would love to see the Black Roses beat both the Softies and the Sirloins. So please do it, because those are definitely two of my playoff foes from seasons past, Dwayne.
Yes, indeed. I know that well. Two players that were bogey for you in the early rounds, giving you those exits. So I would probably feel the same way, making a bold call like that. But yeah, really great bracket talk today. We're going to have some interesting stuff to go over next week. As like we said, a few of these matchups, if they are as they stand or if they're a little bit different, will already be in progress. Before we go into our plays of the week tonight, we have again our spreadsheet wizards stats of the week. Some really interesting tidbits that Wishbones managed to sift through and sort out for us. Once again, thank him very much for putting these together for us. It's always exciting to take a deeper look into the AAA and the XBL, what might be going on with our players and how they might be doing it. And to start things off, it's Tezzy doing it all. He had a respectable AAA debut last season, but this season, Tezzy is making a strong case for the most improved player. His transformation is subbed up in 3 stats outlined here by Wishbone, those of which being he's added almost 60 points to his batting average to sit at a strong 335. His walk rate is 5 times higher than it was last season, and he's improved his run conversion rate a whole 11%, from 22% to 33%. These stats add up to double the run production per game and 25% added to his win percentage over last season. So congratulations to Tezzy here, really getting it done in the middle half of this AAA season.
Absolutely incredible improvement shown by the heavy hitters, and shout out to my man Tezzy. Somebody I always love to brag about on this show and in this league, as he's certainly come a long way. A double-A graduate himself, and just has improved and won at every level he's been at. And you love to see it. And like you said, Dwayne, thanks so much to Wishbone again for putting these together and compiling these stats that wouldn't necessarily jump out at somebody who doesn't, know what they're looking for necessarily. But also thanks for the playoff bracket he provided.
Yeah, always shout out to Wishbone for putting together all these automated graphics usually too. Very, very talented with the spreadsheets, something that, I have no talent with. So shout out to him for putting the time in, getting it done. It's always beautiful work, and it really lets us take a deeper look at things. That's very, very exciting.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, man. And as we move on to Wish's second blurb here, the Toe Beans, another AAA storyline. The Squiggle Jones' Toe Beans have quite the eye, reminiscent of McDonut last season, averaging just one walk allowed every 5 games as a pitcher. So he's doing it on both sides of the plate, taking walks and not allowing very many on the mound.
Yeah, it's
Dwayne and Blue Panther are closest with one walk every 2.5 games. And on the flip side, Squiggle is being walked 2.3 times per game, trailing only Luke Archer, who averages 2.9, nearly 3 walks a game.
That is elite level discipline for sure. I mean, to do it on both sides of the ball, like you said, is extremely impressive. Squiggle Jones jumped out early in AAA to look very, very strong, and to do it on both sides of the ball, that's what's going to take you far. And going into the playoff tournament, you want to keep that up. You want to keep up that discipline. To be only trailing Luke, who many have said has the best eye that's out there. I mean, it's usually a conversation between him and Ashnaut, and now Corruptions. Those 3 players are at the top, that they're S tier level eyes. So to be mentioned in the same conversation as them as far as discipline at the plate, that is a huge, huge compliment.
Absolutely. And we'll segue into yet another AAA storyline here. Mystery Inc. solves the mystery of winning after starting off the season with a monumentally rough 0-16 stretch. Mystery Man has gone 5-5 in his last 10 games. His average at the plate's up 50 points higher than it was in those first 16 games, as we certainly are seeing a sort of a learning curve, Dwayne, from the AA call-ups, but we know he's meticulous with his work ethic and practice mode, and it's certainly paying off for him as we get into the later half of the AAA season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he posts his practice sessions for us to watch and hang out in, and he's really trying to improve every day, scrimmaging as well against you and many other players. So shout out to Mist for really jumping on the board over this past couple weeks and getting it done. I mean, practice makes perfect. That's what they say, right? And it's showing off in the numbers.
Yeah, as somebody who puts in a lot of effort on their game in this game as well, you love to see it. And congratulations to you, Mystery Man. Well earned.
Yes, indeed. And that'll take us into our only real XBL point this week. I mean, it is AAA week coming up for Match of the Week, so it is fitting that we have highlighted some of our AAA players here. Thank you again to Wishbone. And now we're going to get into the year of the pitcher. It's an update that we've been giving you all season long on the strikeout numbers. They're trying to take down the mighty Bison, his big 240. And after 5 players were on pace to break the single season strikeout record after 3 weeks of play, that number has now fallen to just 1. And it's just No Name alone with projected 240 strikeouts and 14 games remaining to play. He's going to have to pitch really, really strong in these next few games and really get those numbers up to stay on pace to do it. But he's got the most time, and he's got the best pace right now. And he's aided by the fact that he's also leading the league in innings played per game. After 18 full, he's already played a total of 12 extra innings, giving him ample opportunity to rack up those extra strikeouts.
Look, No Name, we want to see you break the record, buddy, but you got to play the best hitters of the league at some point, man. You can't keep hiding forever. But we'd love to see you break that record and keep stacking up those Ks, man. Keep avoiding that mercy rule, because the ability to play 9+ with guys is obviously going to give you even more of a chance to do it.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be really interesting to see if he can take that down. All those players that were with him have fallen by the wayside, so he's standing strong to the end here as we get towards week 6 and 7. It's always fun to be in the race to maybe break a record, especially if maybe you're not in the race to to be in the playoffs, but he's in both right now. So what's to be said for the next week for No Name? It'll be interesting to watch. And speaking of interesting to watch, we have our plays of the week coming up. What were you going to say, Ox?
Yeah, I was just going to say No Name had a tough day on, King of Canada Day, but he certainly still got a chance here with quite a bit of games left remaining to play, and he's certainly a hard opponent to put away when you're playing him. So I'd love to see him make a playoff push, as like we said many a time, Dwayne, that, any spot from like 10 to 15 is wide open.
Yeah, as it stands right now, there's no calling it as for the triple or the XBL bracket. That's why next week we're going to try and do our best to call it for you if we have enough games, and it'll be really, really cool to go through that all with you guys. And as I stated just a moment ago, we're going to get started on our plays of the week. We have 5 or maybe what you would call 6. We'll get to that in a little bit for you this week. And this one is from a play in a game against me and B. Hagen where it was close late. I had a 2-run lead, and B. Hagen ends up winning this game 3-2 in the 9th. And this is where I could have found some valuable insurance. He gets that diving double play on the hit and runs. Well timed and well done by B. Hagen.
Yeah, if you guys will notice here on the replay, it's important to notice he takes the step to his right before he dives, and that extra length is what gives him just enough to distance on that dive to get, because honestly, it's a perfect hit and run execution by yourself, Dwayne. I mean, you put the guy in motion to open up that side of the field, which is exactly what you did, but just a great job with the angle there and the timing of diving by B. Hagen. And like you said, he comes back to win this game with 3 clutch runs in the bottom of the 9th.
Yeah, congrats to B. Hagen on getting that split. Great games as always. Always fun to play some tight ones and to have some dramatic baseball, especially on the backup plays like that. We'll move into our number 4. What was that, Ox?
Sorry to cut you off. We go into our number 4 play here. I didn't mean to cut you off, but a lot of people dive, they span the dive right after the ball's hit with the third or first baseman, and just a great job to take a step and then a dive there.
Yeah, sometimes you might see that phase through, or maybe it'll get over the third baseman if you don't, take the right angle at it and get it timed just perfectly. So shout out again to B. Hagen getting it done there. Our next play is actually from a game between yourself and Tam Dan. It's Mr. Ox. This is an interesting one. We had 2 of these submitted this week. This one in a really tight moment. At this time, a 0-0 with a runner coming home to third. It's a 9-3 put out, allowing you to get out of the inning and stopping the run from scoring.
Outfield shallow should be banned, Dwayne. And as you can see, I had the outfield shallow in Cringe Colonial with 2 outs and a guy on third. Able to get the force play at first and strand the runner. It didn't matter because I got swept here, but at the time it was a huge play.
That was a massive play, and they're calling for bans in the chat. So we'll see if league office has to take a deeper look into these shallow outfield tactics that are being discussed. But for now, everything's kosher, and we're going to move on to play number 3. This is a play from Match of the Week. This one, at the time, really took me by surprise. Eduardo laying out with Lloyd Cook. I mean, the guy slid on his chest for about 5 feet before he made that grab. What a play.
Yeah, this is typical Eduardo defensive cheese. I mean, the guy makes incredible plays out there on a regular basis, and Lloyd Cook pulled out a personal slip and slide just to make this one, but just a great job of timing this one up and also getting the angle down with the joystick of Eduardo. And I can't remember off top of the head, I can't remember if he won this game or not, but he had a great split on Match of the Week.
I believe this is from the game in which he lost, because the game he won, he shut out the Dog Pound, I believe, 4-0. But
yes,
still a great play either way. When it's close against a top player like M. Bennings, you have to do what you can to get the outs that you need and to keep you in the game. So Eduardo did it, and congratulations to him. A great play to get here on our plays of the week. Move on now to number 2 for our plays of the week. This one is from King of Canada Day. It's between Webb and B. Hagen, 2 friends going at it, and it's a crucial moment here. Webb can really jump out to a big lead, and you can see we've got Brennan Beluga on the mound. B. Hagen's pitch deep to left. Looks like it's going to get out of there, but he jumps up and robs that baby, taking away a 3-run homer. Nicely done.
Yeah, incredible catch, and tough luck for Webb as he just doesn't get over that short porch in Emerald. And it's never fun to pitch to Kawaguchi with RBI man activated, but Beluga getting it done. with the early appearance and a great catch here as again, B. Hagen pulls off a web gem, if you will, and comes back to win this game late as he did against the Pine Sox. So a great job. These plays led directly to the big jump in the standings by the Megafauna.
Yeah, you got to make plays like these. You got to have solid defense if you want to make jumps in the standings like that, and stay hot going into the playoffs. And B. Hagen's doing that right now. Week 6 and 7 going to be big for the Megafauna here in what's going to be a season before a hiatus, as it was announced in I believe previous to season 11. So it should be really interesting to see how B. Hagen and the Fauna finish this one out. Our number 1 play of the week is where we have that combo. It's a dual play, pretty much the same play being done twice, but an amazing play. This one at Bengata Bowl against me by GTM. He gets over the shoulder with runners on, runners in motion, making that grab. Huge to end the inning there. And what do you know? He does it again here. Same pitcher on the hill against Jackin. Deep to left center at Applefield. Runners on the go. He's going to score for sure if he doesn't catch it, and he catches it over his shoulder, ends the inning once again. It's great job by GTM.
Yeah, absolutely incredible plays, Dwayne. And GTM, a guy who is known for his good defense. As you see shout out to the slow-mo clip.
I don't know how to control that or why, but I just try to restart it and get it back to normal speed.
Hey, I love seeing great defensive plays, even in the slow-mo cam, as great plays by GTM as he won a very close game against you, and that play definitely affected the outcome. And as you see, a 6-5 game with 2 outs against Jackin when he made that play late. So great plays by GTM, and happy to showcase you in the top spot this week.
Yeah, shout out to GTM for the solid defense. That's how you stay up there at the top of the standings, but by winning those close games. Like we just said about B. Hagen, rising up the table, it's about making those plays with your defense, getting it done, and being elite all around. That's what it's all about. And when you're playing at 90 ego against the best, you got to do it day in and day out. And plays of the week really showcase our players when they do that. So shout out to everybody who's submitting, and keep on doing it, as we're getting some good submissions, but we definitely need some more to go through. We're going to have a big submission with our not top 10 plays, I think either next week or on our award show roundup. So keep your eyes out for that, and keep submitting for that as well, because we've got some good ones, and when we can get them all together, I think we'll have a really nice montage.
Yeah, we might even send off that highlight reel into Metalhead as they hopefully one day release that final update. It'll probably be the eve of the World Series, Dwayne. What do you think?
Yeah, right. The next World Series. Yeah, we'll have to try and count on it by then. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we get some info. But either way, we're doing what we do here in the XBL, and we still got a couple more weeks to do it. And that's going to bring us to an end here for the weekly roundup. Ox, it's been a pleasure again to bring you all through, to be with you, and to bring you all through our plays of the week, our rankings, our bracket talk, and our stat storylines. It's so much fun to do this, and to do it every week. And we'll be back at it again next week. And we have our weekly, or our matches of the week upcoming here this weekend. As it stands right now, we're trying to schedule 3 of them. We'll see if all 3 of them come through for you, all AAA matchups. But we can guarantee you, I'm going to say right now, at least 2. So we will get those to you scheduled within the next couple days, and we're going to have a really awesome end of the AAA regular season and into the playoffs.
Yeah, and guys, again, there will be an announcement about playoff rosters coming up. If you're watching and you're a first-year AAA member or even returning members, a reminder, there's only a couple guys that actually verify rosters, so don't put it on them to, have 15 different rosters to approve the day of your first series. Try to get those in as quickly as possible if you can. And really looking forward to these big matchups, Dwayne, like you said, and I can't wait to hopefully cast some playoff matchups, whether on this channel or on my own or whatever it may be. I'd love to bring you guys some more action in the booth, and hopefully looking forward to calling some more games with you, Dwayne. And shout out to Wishbone, as always, for all the work he does for us.
Yes, indeed. Shout out to Wishbone, as always. Shout out to you, Ox. We're definitely going to get in the booth some more, whether it be on the main channel here or on our own respective channels, or anybody's channel, really. If you want games called, you can always feel free to reach out to guys who are in our broadcast team, or even people that are interested in getting into the broadcasting. to help them get their feet wet, get comfortable. It's always great to get more people in the booth. We've been having a nice community effort here this season, getting it done, and we're going to continue to do so. As you know, when the semifinals and World Series come for both leagues, the casts are almost daily. So we'll need all the help we can get coming up then, and it's going to be really, really exciting. Thank you, Ox, for also giving that PSA. As you stated, checking rosters can take some time, especially when everybody's going through their day in the middle of things. So if you want your roster checked before your playoff series is set to be played, you want to get that in nice and early, and please remember to do so. And please remember to get the rest of your games scheduled. If you're having any difficulty getting them scheduled, give a shout out to us in the league office. We'll see what we can do to help you. Always letting us know first and foremost is the most important thing, and that way we can plan out whatever would need to be done in that case. So thank you guys for your participation. Thank you always for watching. Thank you, Ox, for being here, and we'll catch you next time. It's always been a good one here, and we'll see you for Match of the Week later this week. Have a safe and pleasant evening, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Dwayne, and thanks for watching, guys.